go.
Alright,
All right, Akbar.
Mr. Nabil.
Welcome back.
Yeah, it's always good to see you. How are you doing?
How's it going?
Can't complain, man. Alhamdulillah.
How was your week?
Yeah, it's been good, man. End of the year, so
Mhm.
obviously things start to die down.
Sure.
Right? Everyone's taking PTO.
Yeah.
Everyone's spending time with their family.
Mhm.
Surprisingly, my friends told me this has been a busy end of the year for them
Okay.
who are in the industry, and I was like, wow, I was actually surprised.
Uh huh.
But it does make sense.
And busy in what sense exactly?
Just last initiatives, like the final push before Christmas, because everyone is taking off next week. Next week is if you're working next week, you're not going to be doing anything. Like, let's just be honest, right?
Yeah.
Either when I mean not doing anything, I mean you're not doing any active work. You could do some reading, on Confluence about
Right.
certain processes and procedures. That's my
Yeah.
plan. But other than that, like, it's going to be very, very, very relaxed, very chill.
Mhm.
A lot of people are out until the first week of January, so
Yeah.
it's gonna be pretty nice, man. Honestly.
Yeah. No, I agree, and it's both because there's people taking PTO from your company, like
Yeah.
whichever company you're working at. It's also because a lot of times you're doing work, with other companies as well, and you have people taking PTO there as well.
Right.
So that's a good point. I mean, a good way to spend your time is kind of getting ready for that next year.
Right.
Like you mentioned, documentation and stuff like that.
Right.
Because we're like performing in an agile manner. So, it's we're not um, we're not so in your face about stop everything. We need to document. You get what I'm saying?
Right.
But with that being said, there is a level that is necessary, right?
Yeah.
It's people and relationships over documentation. That's like in the actual Agile Manifesto, right?
100%.
But with that being said, it doesn't mean that you don't need documentation. It's just the preference is given to the actual conversations,
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah.
Sorry, not to cut you off, but
Okay.
that's a very interesting thing that you brought up, because the company I'm working at right now.
Yeah.
They are 100% waterfall.
Oh.
Which is very interesting, because I've never worked at a waterfall company before.
Okay.
This is the first time.
Yeah.
And their documentation sucks.
Oh, really?
It's really bad.
Wow, that's usually not the case. It's usually the opposite.
It's so weird, because
Interesting.
so it's the worst of both worlds.
Yeah.
So not only are you not getting the collaboration that you
Yeah.
would normally get from Agile,
Yeah.
but you're also not getting the documentation from Waterfall.
Mm-hmm.
There has been multiple times where I'm on a call with everyone,
Mm-hmm.
and then it turns out the only person who knows the process is this architect from like 7 years ago.
Sure.
And it's like, okay, like,
Yeah, and a lot of times the architect from 7 years ago that's not even with the team anymore.
Yeah.
That's the worst part.
and it's just like, okay, like, why was all of this relying on
Right.
one person?
On one person, yeah. No, that is definitely the worst of both worlds.
100%.
Yeah, doing waterfall and not having good documentation.
Yeah, it's just like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I had a colleague in the past, and I saw this. I'm starting to see this a bit like a trend where, people that are moving from traditional ways of working, or maybe they're like a BA or something like that,
Mhm.
they're like so gung ho about documentation to
Yeah.
the extent where, it's not bad for you to have that. That's fantastic, but it shouldn't be at the detriment of collaboration.
100%.
And what I mean by that, let me give you a very real, specific example that happened to me personally with a colleague in the past. And I had to take them to the side and kind of explain to them, like, that's not really the way it should be done, like in the agile way of doing things, where, like, there's a conversation being had. We have a product owner, we have the director of engineering was there, we have the architect of that team that was there. We also had the director of QA that was there. And there's a very important discussion that's taking place, level setting, just making sure that we're all like on the same page and whatnot. The project was just starting off at that time. And anytime we try to get a few sentences out, there would be this BA that would literally like abruptly in unfortunately like a very rude manner interrupt everyone and say, wait, guys, we need to document. I kid you not. Literally, they'd be like, wait, guys, we need to document this. And they'd pull up their board, their whiteboard, and they'd start writing things on, and they just want us to like watch them writing it on there. and pausing the conversation, and then that's not the way. Like, okay, take notes.
Yeah.
If you're the one that's keeping notes for the meeting, keep notes, but don't stop the flow of the conversation just to, like, write something on a whiteboard, right? That's
And that's something that I feel like a lot of people don't understand. Like, there's the technical aspect of the job, which is
Yeah.
the actual responsibilities,
yeah,
but there's also the social aspect.
yeah,
That if you don't know how to maneuver social settings,
yeah,
being able to be that people person,
right,
you frankly are not going to get liked, and
right.
you would either not last in that job or
Mhm.
you're not going to get promoted, because at the end
Yeah.
of the day, people don't work with robots, they work with people they like.
Right.
And just hearing that, I'm just like,
Yeah.
man, like,
Yeah,
all-
it's annoying.
all you had to do was just hit record
Right.
and just take your notes later.
Take your notes later. Exactly. That's not the primary focus. You have all of these individuals that are very important, not like, oh, they're important and someone else isn't, but important to the project.
Right.
This is the time for them to have that discussion and that collaborate. It's not like the meeting's not being recorded. The meeting
Right.
is being recorded.
It's just like, it
Yeah.
throws the vibe off.
Yeah, it does throw the vibe off. And you know what's the best way if someone is listening to this and they're like, oh, shoot, how do I avoid doing that in my career? The best way is to, like, just genuinely, like, you should genuinely just have a good intention and and never think that you're, like, above anyone else, or that, like, you're the main person or something like that. Because when someone has that, I would call it like a complex,
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely something that others can pick up on.
Yeah.
Because in this specific example that I'm talking about, they were very much coming at it from an angle of, oh, you guys are just having these conversations in the air that are useless until it's, like, actually on a whiteboard. These are just these ethereal discussions, and you're not actually getting work done. And because I say that because they specifically said that, like, yo, let's actually get some real work done. Let's actually put it on a whiteboard. And I, I guess if I was earlier in my career, I would have been offended, because it's just rude to cut someone off in general.
Right,
Someone's
right.
saying something and you're cutting them off. What is that showing? That's showing that, you've made a judgment call in your head that what you have to say is of more value than what's currently being said.
Mm-hmm.
And this person's opinion is irrelevant, and I have the right to interrupt them. That's what cutting someone off is. You know what I mean? Like, in a normal conversation, you're saying something or I said something, like, that's okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a natural flow. It happens. Like, I'm saying something, maybe you'll say something, you'll add, or blah blah blah. Right?
Right.
That's normal exchange. But when someone's coming at it from a hostile way, you can pick it up from the tonality, from the way they're saying it. It's kind of like a backhand, like, kind of like you feel like you're getting slapped.
Right, right.
So I would just, just, if you genuinely are, coming at it from a mutual respect, everyone has something to say.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't praise them enough. Like, this one organization that I'm working with, where, like, genuinely, I've never worked with the organization where people are, like, this real and this honest and this humble, where we're doing a WizGIF, for example.
Yeah.
And the product owner that's been there for, like, a month and a half has just as much as a say in the conversation as the CTO.
Right.
That's like he's a CTO of the whole company.
Right.
But your WizGIF score, if you scored lower and let's say the CTO scored higher, they're not just brushing you to the side like, okay, well, the CTOs did this, so forget you.
Right.
But rather it's like, oh, Nabil, what was your thinking behind that? And then you're giving your 2 cents. Maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not. And how many times it's happened where, yeah, you actually did have something valuable that they didn't realize. Like, those benefits come from humility,
Right.
But then you have, like, someone that's like a BA or something that's for some reason hijacking the conversation. That's not the way to do it.
Yeah, and that's also a sign of confidence and strong leadership. Is
Yeah.
someone that is willing to take a back seat and
Yeah.
accept ideas from people that are under the totem pole from them,
Right.
quote unquote, right?
Exactly.
Because a good idea is a good idea.
Exactly.
What does it matter? Who it
That's
came from?
exactly right. And yeah, and as a leader, like, that's what you want to facilitate. You want to facilitate discussions. You want to feel comfortable. But I think you totally hit the nail on the head. That the need to be the dominant force in the room, it actually comes from a level of insecurity.
100%.
But a person that's very secure in their capabilities and whatnot,
Yeah.
they're more than happy to hear out everyone in the room,
Right.
you know? Because if someone else has a good idea, it's in no way, shape, or form taking away from them. It's
Right.
just adding to the whole, you know? So I hope that's good advice that everyone can kind of, especially those that are earlier on in their career.
Right.
Like if you notice that, don't let it ruin your day,
Mhm.
you know, or don't let it become a reason for you to have issues with other people.
Right.
You kind of just recognize like, okay, that's kind of what they're doing, you
Right.
know, and you learn to like navigate around it because unfortunately like politics are real, like office politics and stuff,
It's,
you know.
it's very real. It is absolutely real.
Yeah.
And look, man, if you play the game, play it smart.
Right.
You know.
Yeah, don't take things personally and have appropriate conversations at the right time. Like, you know, I feel like alhamdulillah, you know, we're Muslim as well, and there's like some baseline like principles and stuff that we learn growing up that are very good to apply in a corporate setting as well, right? Like, for example, you don't correct someone in public.
Right.
That's something that is taught to us that that's disrespectful to do.
Right. Right. Right.
That if someone's making a mistake, if it's a small little thing, you know, it doesn't really matter. But if it's something that if you were to correct them in public, it would make them look foolish.
Right.
That's the type of situation where you should just hold your tongue
Right.
and on the side, you know, have that conversation with
Let them
them,
know.
like, you know, yeah. So for example, like if we're doing a project and you know on the board we have a step 1 and step 2, and they put step 2 first and step 1 later, that's something right there and then you can just give a reminder like, oh, I think you mixed it up or something.
Right.
That's not a big deal.
Right. Right.
But if you see that someone is being rude or they're interrupting other people, that's a behavioral thing.
Right.
You're not gonna want to.
you're not gonna be like, hey.
hey, because that's embarrassing, right?
It is.
That's a personality thing that a person needs to work on. That's something you want to afterwards take them to the side and be like, hey, you know, it would be a lot nicer or more conducive to the environment if you know let everyone talk and then we give our opinions, stuff like that. You know,
100%.
people are more receptive that way, anyways. So
100%. A lot of this job really is, it's really just people management.
sure,
A lot of it is just managing different personalities.
yeah,
I would say that's like outside of the actual technical skills, outside of the technical work. Like,
yeah,
if you are a good people person and the team likes you, you can you can honestly like really excel at this role,
right,
because at the end of the day, again, like you're that bridge of communication
yeah,
between your executive team and the development technical team,
right,
right? And if you are not communicating something properly, or if you're just coming off as rude,
right,
like I don't care what you have to say, just do it,
yeah,
people aren't going to want to work with you, especially if you're a
Yeah.
new hire.
yeah.
Especially if you're a new hire.
No, I agree, and that's why, like in our course, we first focus on like the technical aspects, right? So,
Right.
literally, you'll see like modules 1 through 6. You're like every week, so that's about a month, more than a month and a half.
Yep.
We're not talking about anything regarding like people management or anything. It's all like technical, what you need to know to be a product owner or a
Yep.
product manager. But then when you start looking like beyond that 6th week or 7th week, you start getting into the more practical aspects. You start getting into what's called stakeholder management,
Mhm.
right? Stakeholder management, like how do you deal with someone that's, you know, let's say they're asking you for something that's unreasonable. Now, the simple answer is no, but how do you smooth it over? Do you give them a harsh, sharp no that might have implications later on? Or do you find a way to like smooth it over? And, you know, these are kind of more advanced topics when it comes to, usually this is the type of stuff we'll discuss with them around the time where they're ready to start getting certified, right?
Yeah,
Around the
absolutely.
time where they're starting to look for a job search and interview prep and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
And speaking of the course, just moving on.
Yeah.
I know last week we had mentioned we had some very exciting news,
Yep.
which is now we discussed about offering scholarships.
Yep.
Our full ride scholarship, which is
Yep.
about $11,500.
Right.
If you qualify, it is absolutely completely free. And on top of that, we have a bonus starter pack
Right.
that will make you as successful as possible.
Right.
And if you want to speak a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you brought it up. So we kind of teased it, I would say, last time.
Yeah.
We've confirmed it now in the terms of we've worked out all the details and everything that needs to be done, the logistics. We've got this campaign live and ready to start accepting people, so really excited. And then, as you mentioned, like, not only are you getting, if you qualify, not only are you getting like the $11,500 full ride scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
but then like the starter pack, it involves not just a laptop but also an iPhone, because you need two factor, and there's multiple times in your job where you need a separate mobile device. You got hotspot for 3 months, you have a monitor, you have a keyboard, you have a mouse, you have a travel bag, you have a docking station so that everything could be hooked up properly. Like, you have a full on kit, like everything that you could possibly need. And not only are we doing that so that it would support our students to be able to attend our classes,
Yeah.
we're also doing it because of the fact that we have strategic partnerships that we're working out with multiple organizations that are local to the Chicagoland area or otherwise, right? Because a lot of, or almost, I would say every single one of these opportunities that I'm discussing about are remote roles, right?
Yes.
So a student doesn't have to, first of all, for our classes, if it's not clear, if we haven't clarified before, you don't have to come to a physical location to attend any of our classes,
Absolutely.
right? Every single thing is online. Even the workshops, the live workshops and those sessions, they're all facilitated online. But not only that, like these types of what I would call internships, and not just any old internship, a paid internship. So you're learning everything you need, you're getting a legit internationally certified certification that we guarantee. Like, there's no way you will take our course to the end and you won't get certified.
Yep.
Not only that, but now you're actually getting real life work experience at a legitimate corporation that's paying you for that education, like that paid internship. So I think it's it's a
Let me get this straight, Nabil. Let me get this straight.
Yeah.
You're saying if someone qualifies,
yep.
they will get an $11,500 scholarship,
Mm-hmm.
a brand new laptop,
Yep.
a brand new iPhone,
Yep.
3 months of hotspot,
That's right.
a monitor,
Yep.
a docking station,
Mm-hmm.
and a paid internship if they are in the top 10% of graduating students.
That's exactly right. That's
For
exactly
free.
right. For free.
That
yeah,
is
completely for free.
absolutely crazy.
Absolutely, yeah. Without a shadow of a doubt. I mean, it's ridiculous amounts of value, especially if you take it seriously and like the way you mentioned, like if you are one of those top performing students, they're the ones that we're facilitating these paid internships for. And at the end of the day, when it comes to getting actual employment, they will love to see that your knowledge isn't just hypothetical or book knowledge, but rather it's applied
Yeah.
in an actual corporation that was paying you for that work, right?
Right.
So that's the biggest, I would say, like testament of legitimacy in the industry, that you could think of yourself as whatever you want,
Right.
but when someone's employing you for that, like that shows, like, okay, this guy's legit.
That is crazy. That is
Yeah.
crazy. I don't think there's a single program in Illinois or even in the country that is offering that much
Right.
if you meet the qualifications.
That's right. That's
insane.
exactly. Yeah, it's a no-brainer, and we should reiterate, like, the qualifications. Of course, if someone is receiving any type of government assistance, SNAP or Medicaid or something along those lines,
Yep.
they're a good contender, or they're a good candidate, I should say, for
Yes.
this program.
Yes.
But other than that, even if it doesn't matter how much you were earning, if
Yes.
you've gotten laid off recently, you should absolutely apply,
Yes.
because you might meet the criteria regardless of how much you were making before you got laid off.
Yep.
So that's one thing. And another is, if you're a veteran,
Yes.
not only a veteran, if you're a spouse of a veteran.
Yes.
So people oftentimes won't think that if you're a spouse, you also qualify. Yes, you do. You've never served in the military a day in your life. But simply because of the fact that you are the spouse of a veteran, that is, a qualifying reason. So
That
there's
is
a lot
crazy.
of people that fall in that category.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And yeah, I mean, the main reason we're even doing all this is because our core value is we believe education, and a quality education is a right of everyone,
Yeah.
regardless of the demographics, regardless of their economic standing,
Right.
regardless of any of that.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, that's right, man. And the world is changing. The world is changing very fast. And I saw the funniest comment the other day. So For those of you that are following the AI revolution closely, you will know that OpenAI is soon to release a new model that's even more advanced,
Oh wow.
and it's called O3 and
Okay.
O3 Mini. And this is taking it to the point where many people online are contemplating, or they're predicting that, oh, this looks like glimpses of AGI, which is artificial general intelligence. So whereas the models before are excelling in certain specific things, right? So they're very refined, or they're very focused on a specific, aspect. This is going to be like kind of more all encompassing, kind of like what you see in the movies in terms of like being all knowing and all that type of crazy stuff, right?
The Matrix.
General, yeah, like Skynet or something, right? Um, but anyways, in the comment of the OpenAI post, it said, I can't believe we got AGI before GTA before GTA 6. But yeah, man, the world is changing, and one of the focuses in our course is how an individual, despite the fact that they might not have had so many years in this specific field,
Yeah.
they can outperform veterans
Yep.
by knowing how to leverage AI appropriately.
Yes.
It's not just using AI the way you'd use it for a project or a personal like little project or something,
Right.
but how do you use it in a corporate setting that's safe, that's reliable, and that's effective?
Yep.
So it's a really good like anyone that's on the fence of, man, should I change careers, yes or no? The reason why they're on the fence is because of fear of the unknown.
Yep.
That, okay, I already know what I'm doing. I hate what I'm doing, but at least I know it, right? Should I give that up for something that I might love, and it might change my life because I'd be earning way more than I ever thought was possible, but I don't know it?
Right.
That gap, it will in large part be filled by appropriately utilizing artificial intelligence in your day-to-day workflow. So if you use it appropriately, it can definitely help to ease that inhibition or that fear.
It always seems impossible until you do it,
That's right.
and then when you do it, you're just like, okay, it wasn't that hard.
Right,
I got it
exactly.
done.
Yeah, there's so many parallels, man, in life. Like for, let me use such a basic example. Like, for example, like you're going in a pool, everyone's gone swimming. You're going in a pool, you put that foot in, you're like, dude, there's no way I'm going in the pool. To the point where you're like, all right, guys, I'm just gonna stay at this level. You guys have fun. I'm just gonna put my legs in, right? But what it takes is that leap of faith of just completely submerge yourself
Right.
one time.
Right.
And I promise you, when you pop your head back up, you're not gonna want to leave the pool.
Right. Right.
Everyone knows exactly what we're talking about,
Right.
right? It's so painful, especially beyond the knees. Once you get to the knees and it starts going higher up, you're like, no, bro. But once you just take that leap of faith, right? You dunk your head and you completely submerge yourself. It's a one-to-one parallel, man. When it comes to transitioning your career, just go for it.
Right.
Just submerge yourself completely in it. Just give it a chance. Just one dunk. And when you pop your head back up, then what happens? When you try leaving the pool, it's so cold, you're like, no, bro, I'm just going to stay.
The worst
Yeah.
thing you can do is not try.
That's right.
Right,
That's right.
because you're only doing yourself a disservice.
Right.
And David Goggins says this a lot: is you need to callous your mind. Like,
Mm.
when you go through tough trials, tough experiences,
Yeah.
it makes your mind harder.
Right.
And it lets you know the next challenge, it's not as bad because
Mhm.
you can think back to what you got over and what you came over.
That's right. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it, and I have a slightly different way of thinking about it that came from. It wasn't an original thought. I mean, I guess I did think of this originally in the sense that in my personal life, but the way it was phrased, I believe it was. It might have been Alex Hermosi. It might have been Alex or somebody. I can't remember exactly who, but what it was is, when you're in life,
Mm-hmm.
if you take on an intense challenge,
Yeah.
right? What happens is you realize that you can focus and you can do it, and it's like a gear that you have, that anytime you try to take something new on, you know in the back of your head that you have that gear.
Yeah.
That if you need to access it, you could shift to that. They call it locking in, right?
Yeah, locking
So
in.
locking in, you know that you have that gear. You could lock in and you can make it happen. You know what I mean? Like, I definitely, without a shadow of a doubt, need to like go to the gym a lot more now, right? It's been a while and whatnot. But it's like, if in your youth you were hardcore about it at any time,
Yeah.
you know you have that gear.
Right. Right.
It's just about making enough time to access it.
Right.
But someone that in their youth never were at like was never at like peak fitness, right? They don't even know that okay that exists within them.
Right.
So that's the thing of like kind of giving everyone that reassurance, right? That everyone's got that gear.
Right.
You know, everyone's got that ability to just lock in or just submerge all the way
Right.
and completely change your life.
Right.
You know, so I've used that gear in so many other aspects of my career or my life when it comes to product ownership, when it comes to getting into AI, product management, you know, all of these different things. It's all like, okay, you have that ability to lock in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And I say this all the time, and we both iterate it all the time, is me and you aren't geniuses.
Exactly.
We're not super geniuses. We're not freaking Einstein, right?
Right.
If we're able to figure it out, if we were able to change our careers, and
Yeah.
we come from two very different careers, but if we're both able to come from two different starting points
Right.
and end up in the same sphere,
Yeah.
why can't anyone else?
Yeah. And people think that you need to have a degree in that
Yeah,
to get into that field.
absolutely. And that's
But
not the case.
that is not the case.
You have a degree in theology.
Correct.
I have a degree in health.
Correct.
What does that have to
It
do
has
with
nothing to
IT?
do with tech, you know.
Right.
It has nothing to do with tech, but it's yeah. If you just give it, literally, man, you could change your whole life in just a couple months.
100%.
You just give it a couple months, you get the right certifications,
Right,
you fix up your resume,
right.
you learn how to do interviews, and that's it. I mean, you know what I mean?
And there's no such thing as a get rich quick scheme.
Right.
But if there was, if you told someone, hey, within 6 months you could triple your income
Mm-hmm.
on a W-2, like a legitimate W-2 income,
Yeah.
they're gonna that's it. That's
Yeah.
the hack.
Yeah, that's
Right?
the hack. Yeah. No doubt there's time and effort that you put into it.
Of course.
But there are so many examples
Yeah.
of people in similar circumstances
Of course.
that have made it happen,
100%.
you know? And they're not like some type of, Elon Musk or like, you know, Einsteins or something like that.
Right.
It's normal average individuals, you know, that
Right.
are able to do that.
Right.
And that's my, I would say, biggest pain is, you know, there's something that's said in programming circles. It's like, it's a saying in programming circles where it's like, it's a skill problem.
Yeah.
It's a skill problem. And what that means is sometimes something can be technically possible and there's no limits there's no reason why it can't be done, like in terms of physics or in terms of practicality or being able to do it. It's just a skill gap that a person has that is stopping them from being able to do it. So it's like, it's more of a funny phrase where it's like someone will be complaining about not being able to do something, and then the other person, the response is just, it's a skill problem. You know what I mean?
Skill issue.
Yeah, it's a skill issue, right? But that's the thing, man. So many times a person will be working just as hard,
Yeah.
but it's literally just a knowledge gap.
Yeah.
It's a knowledge issue. It's a knowledge problem.
Yeah.
The person was never exposed to the fact that there are such opportunities that exist. With the same amount of effort, you know, or even less, a lot of times even less, you're able to produce more. And that's kind of like, you know, we talk about Alex Hormozy, you know, a lot, and you know, acquisition.com is obviously his company, and his logo, like the hat that I'm wearing right now,
Right.
like that's kind of the whole theme, right? That central triangle, that's the fulcrum for leverage.
Yeah.
And leverage is all about the amount you're putting in versus the amount you're getting out.
Yeah.
Because 3 months will go by regardless. 3 months will go by no matter what. Like we're talking about, we're end of year, right? People are going to be making their resolutions. Within these first 3 months, January, February, March, they're going to happen. But what's going to happen to you in those 3 months? Like if you made good use of it, just putting a little bit of time every week. We're not requiring you to quit your job or quit school or anything.
Right.
Our program you can do on the weekend, put a few hours on the weekend, a few hours during the week, and that's all you really need, right? A little bit of focus for a few hours during the week and then for a few hours on the weekends. For 3 months, you could change your entire life.
100%. And I say that confidently.
Yeah.
Because I've done it.
That's right.
You've done it.
That's right.
And our graduating alumni who have gotten jobs have done it.
That's exactly right.
So when you have all this evidence in your face,
right.
What's what's stopping you?
That's right. So yeah, highly recommend everyone to please apply. Even if you aren't eligible for the $11,500 full ride scholarship,
Right.
we have other scholarships.
We do.
We have an $8,500 scholarship.
We do, yeah.
And in terms of the scope of individuals that are applicable for the $8,500 scholarship, there's a lot more people that are applicable. You know what I mean?
There's a lot. That's definitely much more feasible for people that may not qualify for our full ride, but
Yeah.
still, that's
Doesn't hurt to check.
That's 85%.
Yeah, it's over 70%. Yeah, it doesn't hurt to check, right?
Right,
I mean, it's
yeah.
not costing you anything to check. You
Right.
just fill out the form, and it has basic questions, yes, no, and if you qualify, you qualify. You don't even have to pay for it. It's a
Right.
full ride scholarship, or if you do, it's heavily discounted. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I think it's a no-brainer, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. What else, Akbar? How's everything else going?
Everything else is good, man.
Everything else is good.
Everything else is good. We will be, so if you're local to Chicago community, we will be at Mass ICNA next weekend. Pretty much the entire weekend we'll be around. So if you see us, if you see our booth, stop by, say what's up. We'd love to meet a lot of our listeners and
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, I think let's leave it at that. I
Absolutely.
think that's solid. Thank you, everyone. And please, Akbar said it. I'll reiterate it. Just apply for the scholarship. It's something we're really excited about. It's something we just started recently. We really want to take advantage of the fact that we are a accredited institute at this point. So Mentor Agile Institute. No better way to celebrate that than to kind of use what's in our disposal as an institute, such as these types of grants or these types of sponsorships or these types of scholarships. So yeah, looking forward to speaking to you guys later. And let's leave it at that. Akbar.
Awesome, man.
Okay, take care.
Salam.
Alaikum salam.